This is the algebra calculator worksheet set A. So make sure you're looking at this sheet, and this is what you should have in front of you. Just make sure it comes up. Here it is. So this is the sheet that you should be looking at. It's the algebra calculator worksheet. Let's look at this then. Question 1. Okay, in question 1, it says factorize the expression x squared minus 4x minus 21. This is a quadratic. You'll know it because there's an x squared, an x, and a number term. Straight away you should put two pairs of brackets down. Because it's x squared at the front, you're going to have x and x in each bracket. Now you need two numbers that are going to times together to give you 21, but you can add them up in some way to get minus 4. So like you have 1 and 21 times together to give you 21, and you should know 3 times 7 is 21, and you could combine those two. You could add them or combine them in some way to get minus 4. But because it's minus 4 you want, the bigger one needs to be negative, so it's going to be minus 7 and positive 3. So I'm going to put 7 and 3 there. I can stick plus 3 minus 7. The plus 3 and minus 7 could be the other way around, and that'll still be correct. Question 2, solve the equation. And here I have the same equation as in question 1. When you need to solve an equation, the first thing you do is to factorize it. Now we've done that already. We factorized it. The main difference in solving an equation as opposed to just factorizing it is that it's made equal to 0. And because it's equal to 0, solve, we're working out x. So I'm going to have x is equal to the opposite sign to this, positive 7, and x is equal to the opposite sign to this one, which is minus 3. Make sure you can do that and make sure you can understand it. Question 3. This is a bit of A-star work, which if you do get in the exam and you do understand, is bonus marks. So the quadratic formula is given to you in the formula page at the front, and this bit here is given as well, ax squared plus bx plus c. A is the number in front of x, b is the number in front of, a is the number in front of x squared, b is the number in front of x, and c is the number on its own at the end. So you need to list these. A is equal to 3, B is equal to 5, and C is equal to, in this case, minus 7. Be really careful about the signs. And here is the quadratic formula, and this, as I said, is on the formula sheet at the front. Now I showed you all in class how to enter this onto your calculator. And this is what it looks like, but you're not going to enter this onto your calculator because of this plus or minus. You're just going to enter plus first. Right, and this is what you should end up with on your calculator screen. When you enter minus, this is what you should end up with. But what you're going to do is you're going to type all of this in. First of all, with just a plus, and then you get this. Press the SD button, and you get that answer. Go back, use the replay button, change the plus to a minus, and then you'll get this. Press the SD button, and that's your answer there. Do practice this, right, because it is bonus marks if you can get it and if you do get it in an exam. Question 4, simplify fully. I have two quadratics here, or two algebraic expressions. The only thing I could do is to factorize them, and we're pretty okay at that. I always encourage people to put a 1 over there because it's just 1x. Now let's do this. Two pairs of brackets at the top, x at the front of each, because x times x gives me x squared. I need two numbers of times together to give me 6, so 1 and 6, or 3 and 2. Okay, and actually I'm going to use the 3 and the 2. Why? Because I want to combine them, add them up in some way to get positive 1. So that's going to be positive 3 and negative 2. 3 and 2, positive 3, negative 2. At the bottom now, I'm going to put two pairs of brackets again, and I need two numbers of times together to give me 10. And actually, this is pretty straightforward. I could do 1 and 10, or I could do 2 and 5. And I'm going to use 2 and 5 again, this time because I want to get minus 7 as a result there. So x and x, 2 and 5. How do I get minus 7? Well, they both need to be negative here. Minus 5, minus 2 combines together to give me minus 7. Now you need to look at this because I can actually cross out or cancel out the x minus 2's, and what's left behind is x plus 3 over x minus 5, and that's my result. Okay, make sure you do practice this, you understand it, and you can do it in an exam if required. Question 5, simultaneous equations. Okay, one of the things I taught you to do is to first of all circle the y's. right? Just the y's, circle them. So what we're going to do is we're going to times the first equation by 2, because that y in the second equation is a 2, and we're going to times the first equation by, sorry, the second equation by 5, because in the first equation the y has a 5 in front of it. So if I times all of this by 2, I'm going to get 8x plus 10y is equal to 34. If I times all of the second one by 5, I'm going to get 15x plus 10y, and 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, at this stage I'm going to circle the pluses, and remember, stop. When we do stop, we say the same, you take away, opposite, you plus. But because they're the same, I'm going to take away. Let's do the subtraction. 8x take away 15x is minus 7x. 10 take away 10. Well, the whole point of this is so that the y's disappear. So they will disappear here. And 34 take away 20 is 14. At this stage, I need to divide by minus 7. Dividing by minus 7 gives me 14 divided by 7 is 2. 14 divided by minus 7 is minus 2. We're only halfway, and this is part of the answer, half of the answer. I need to work out what y is now. So I'm picking one of the original equations. I'm going to actually pick the second one because the numbers are slightly smaller in that. I know x is equal to minus 2, so I'm going to replace x here with minus 2. 3 times minus 2 is minus 6. How do I get rid of that minus 6? I need to add 6, do the opposite of it on the other side, so I need to get rid of this minus 6. So 4 add 6 is 10, I'll have 2y is equal to 10. I need to get rid of this 2 here, and how do I get rid of that? I divide by 2, 10 divided by 2 is 5, and that's my answer, y is equal to 5. Simultaneous equations, very likely in the exam, make sure you can do it. It's a 4 or 5 mark question, very common, very popular. Question 6. Use the equation x cubed minus 2x is equal to 125. The solution is between 5 and 6. Use trial and improvement method to find x to one decimal place. So I'm going to set up my table x cubed minus 2x, and my target number is 125. Do always set it out like this. Do make sure you use a table. They've told me that the answer is between 5 and 6. So I'm going to start off with 5.5, stick it into my calculator, use the brackets, yeah, it does help, and then work out my answer, and that is too big. Use the replay button to go backwards and change the 5s, yeah, in 5.5 on your calculator screen, change them to 4s, because we're going to try 5.4 next, and the result I get there is 146.66. That's still too big. I'm going to try 5.3. Again, use the replay button, go backwards, change the 4s, and the value I get now is 138. That is too big. I'm going to try 5.2, right, go backwards, and the result I get is 130. Finally, I need to try 5.1, and in this case, I'm getting a number that's too small. Put an arrow there. Don't forget to do that, because that's where your answer is going to be. Right, well, that's where your check is going to be. Now, I'm going to add zeros here to help you, because we need to pick the number that's halfway between those two, and that's going to be 5.15. Again, use the replay button, but this time add the 5 ones, so you have 5.15 cubed minus 2 times 5.15. Work out your result. Now look at this. This is too big. Because this is too big, that means 5.15 is too big. I need to go with the smaller one on either side of my arrow. That's why it's good to put the arrow in. The smaller one is 5.1. Don't put 5.10 because the question said give the answer to one decimal place. Okay, let's move on. Question 7. Draw a graph of y is equal to f of x as shown in the grids. On this grid, sketch the graph of y is equal to f of x plus 2. F of x is just this curve here, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it up 2 units. That's what plus 2, when it's outside of those brackets there, means. If it was minus 2, it means move it down 2. You can use tracing paper if you wish to just trace over the graph, move it up 2 squares and then do that. Or you could pick some corners, or sorry, points along the curve. Right, so I picked that point because it's actually on a cross point of the grid. I'm going to go 2 up. I'm going to go 2 up here. I'm I'm going to go 2 up here, I'm going to go 2 up here, and I'm going to move that up 2. And drawing those crosses in now means I can actually just put my curve in, and that is my answer. So basically move this curve here. This is what f of x is. We don't care what the equation of it is. All they said is draw the graph of f of x plus 2, and you need to remember that if you're adding 2 outside of the brackets, if it's inside the bracket it means something else. Check your revision guide for this. If I'm adding 2, it moves it up. If I'm minusing 2, it moves it down. Question 8. A circle has radius 5 and its center is 1, 3. Write down the equation of the circle. Well, there's a rule. I've written this down on your revision guide. So the general equation of a circle is x minus a all squared plus y minus b all squared is equal to the radius squared, and the center of the circle is just AB, right? So those 2 points. So in this case, because the center of the circle is 1 and 3, I'm going to write x minus 1 squared plus y minus 3 squared, and the radius squared is 5. So I could either write 5 squared or 25, and that's acceptable as my answer. That's pretty okay. Question 9. You need to be able to do this with or without a calculator. So f is equal to 3g. I'm going to replace g with minus 5. So minus 5 squared. Make sure this is in brackets, because when the minus is squared, it becomes a plus. If you don't put the brackets in, it just squares the number 5. Plus 7 times 2, and 2 is what h is. So be very careful that you do this. Now you work this out. Always write this line first. Type it into your calculator, then work it out. So 5 squared is 25, times 3 is 75, plus 7 times 2 is 14, and then that works out to be 89. Alright, this is pretty straightforward. Not everything on this requires a calculator, but you need to be pretty sharp on this. You need to be pretty okay with it, and make sure you know how to do it completely.